been fishing long enough?
For the whole season.
Okay, this is the trip to the Bahamas. I had a 25-foot Rampage boat with a nice cabin in it, and I took my two sons to the Bahamas. When you go to the Bahamas, you cross the ocean. You cross the ocean, it's about 60 miles to the first island of the Bahamas. And the island that we went to is about 100 miles from Florida, from Jupiter, Florida, about 100 miles. We went to an island called Walker's Cay. This used to be a very famous island years ago. A lot of people would go there to go scuba diving and fishing and snorkeling, and it has some of the best scuba diving and snorkeling almost in the world. It is absolutely a beautiful, beautiful place. So I take my sons there, and we get there, and this was in the summer, and as soon as we got there, we started getting squalls. And these squalls were coming about every hour. We would just get this huge rainstorm, and we call it squalls. Big wind, rain, and everything. And this lasted for about 5 days. 5 days all day long, every day. And all we could really do is just hang out in the boat or go to the island and go into a building just to get out of all of these squalls. Well, we finally got through that, and it just started being a beautiful place. So we're out there snorkeling and scuba diving and fishing, and all we're eating is fish and lobsters and conch and stone crabs, and that's all we were eating, was just seafood. And it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. And there was this one time I was scuba diving, and I'm cruising along, and all of a sudden a big barracuda comes up, and he's swimming right alongside me, and this fish was at least 6 feet long. And I'm looking at this barracuda. Now, he's not going to hurt me at all. I'm not afraid of it, but I'm just noticing he's swimming right alongside me. And I look at him, and he had 4 leaders with hooks hanging out of his mouth. Just leaders just hanging out of his mouth. So I'm thinking, well, this fish has already been caught 4 times, and each time he broke the line and got away. Because he was so big, I couldn't believe, I couldn't doubt that he would get away. He had to be a very strong fish. But he had 4 hooks and leaders hanging out of his mouth, and I just thought this was pretty cool. So I scuba dived, and he swam alongside me for a while, and finally he just left, and I've never seen him again. And we did a lot of snorkeling around this island, and everything was beautiful. We were catching these fish. They were called hogfish. A hogfish is probably one of the most delicious fish in the ocean. I absolutely love hogfish, and the people that get the hogfish are only scuba divers and snorkelers, because this fish eats coral, so you'll never catch one on a hook. You have to spear it. So you're either a scuba diver or a snorkeler, and when you see this fish, you spear it, and then you have the fish. And like I said, it's one of the most delicious fish in the ocean. And we were just having a real good time. And not a whole lot of things happened there except for the 5 days where we had the bad weather, and then the scuba diving with the barracuda. And so then we hung out there, and we were there for 9 weeks. And we spent the whole 9 weeks just living on my boat. And like I said, it had a nice cabin, so my 2 sons would sleep in the cabin, and it had a marlin tower, which is a tower that goes up over the boat. And it had a big platform up there that you could stand on, and you could drive the boat from up there. And what I did is I had an air mattress, and I would lay this air mattress on this tower, and when it was not raining, okay, of course. And I would lay this air mattress on this tower, and that's where I slept. I slept up there almost every night. And the boys would sleep down in the cabin. Now, when it was raining, I could sleep in the cabin also. It was a little crowded, but we could handle it. But anyway, that's what we did, and we were there for 9 weeks, every single day. And so then it's time to go back home, so we cross back across the ocean, and we come into Jupiter Inlet. And the inlet is where you go into land, and it's like a river, and it goes in, and we're coming into the inlet, and both of these boys came up to me and they said, "We want a hamburger." So I said, "Well, okay, I'll get you a hamburger, because you know we've been eating fish and nothing but fish for 9 weeks." So they wanted a hamburger. So I pull into the inlet and I pull into a marina, and we dock the boat, and they got a nice restaurant in this marina. We go into the restaurant, and the waitress comes over to us, and we looked at her and we said, "We want hamburgers, and we want them this big, and we want them this thick." Well, the lady went back, you know, to the kitchen, and they hand patted us some hamburgers. I mean, they did it exactly like we wanted it, and they brought it out, and we were eating these hamburgers, and I tell you what, they were really, really good. And that's pretty much that story.